So now that we've established the basics, what are the different types of ships and what are they used for? Well, let's go ahead and go through them here. To access the ships, or at least the ones available to you to build, just hover your mouse over the planet. Your ships here are as follows. Well, actually, this is the home planet. That's okay. You know what? That actually brings up an important distinction. There are certain ships that you can only build on your home planet, and then there are certain ships that you can only build on any other planet that you own other than your home planet. Certain ships that you can build on your home planet that you can only build on your home planet are these Wents right here. Also these Meko. Well, we call them Meko because we don't say Meko Pran. Like I said in the other one, I don't know where the heck they came up with these names at. But these three in particular, you have your Wents, your Meko, and your Zaro. You can only build these on your home planet. Generally speaking, you use Wents only for fodder. You use them when taking other planets. Let's go ahead and build one here. When you see you need more ministries, that just means you need to add more. What do we call it here? You need to add more economy ministries. Now, with each level, it's 19 titanium. If you want to get that message to disappear, and you need more ministries as you add more defenses to your planet and as you add more ships. Alright, so we were just able to get to go away. I did it not because I had to, but because that message is really annoying as it pops up all the time. So anyhow, yeah, the first ship that we built is a Went. You can build these in groups of 19. So you can have 19 ships per group. In each group, I have a bunch over here. See, there's 19 individual here within one group. And as I said, their only use is for fodder when you're taking planets. And I'll set up a mock example in a little bit here. I'm not going to do it because this is just about the different ship types, but I'll take planets later. But you have your Wents, you have your Meko. Generally speaking, you won't use these too much later on in the game. If you're able to build a lot of them early on in the game, they can help you significantly. They are very slow though, so keep that in mind. They are very easy to destroy. But if you get a bunch of them in mass early on in the game, you can very easily take out your opponents. So that's what a Meko looks like. Put the Went here. Next is a Zaro. You see, each ship takes a certain amount of time to make. Now, yes, you can speed up the ship construction time, but again, you have to use titanium up here to do it. And if you're impatient like me, you just want to get it over with, just speed it up. Put that one here. The Zaro come in groups of 7, the Meko come in groups of 13. Zaro can be relatively powerful in mass, although they are destroyed very easily. Next here you have Sino. Sino takes several minutes to make. I believe it's 5 minutes. Later on in the game, you'll actually use these more for fodder than you will Wents. Reason being is you can end up producing them for free when you take up or when you gather up enough planets on a specific map. I'll show you that in another video here. Let's go ahead and scoot through that. Next, we're going to build a corn block, is what they call it, but we call it a corn. Very rarely do you ever build these. Do you really ever need them? For the most part, they are pretty useless within the game. If you have someone attacking you with TIGs, which is one of the largest ships in the game, and it is one of the most powerful, these are designed so you can take those out easily if you don't have anything else to counter them. They are incredibly slow. And other than using them to take out TIGs, here, I'll show you the TIG here. You have to go off of the home map to get to the TIG, but this is the TIG here. But really, the only thing that they can do is take out TIGs, otherwise they're absolutely useless. Next you have an SWEP, is like I said, all we call it. Again, early in the beginning of the game, you can use these to take out other ships when you only have a couple planets on a particular map. And as long as the other people who you're dealing with, as long as they are brand new players like you, they'll be relatively successful. But if you get some other individuals who like to cheat, what they do is they make another account. People who already know how to play that aren't noobs, so to speak, and they just blow through the whole map, taking up all the planets that they can get. We're not going to build this here. It's kind of pointless. These ships here, they're called MAUs. They're bombers. You can build them in groups of 19. Now, they are probably one of the most, if not the most important ship in the entire game. And the reason why is this. In addition to being extremely useful when you want to take out planets or take over planets that someone else owns, these are absolutely essential if you want to go around, if you want to go through enemy planets and take out important assets that are on them. The reason why is because the blue guns here, well, any color gun for that matter, but in particular these guns here, they will divert their fire to anything of a bomber class first. So these will get shot first, your Carls will get shot first, and your Dawns will get shot first. These three particular ships and the ship class of bomber in particular will get shot before anything else. So another one is here. These Cobs. Cobs are actually quite useful, especially in the beginning of the game. If you're skilled enough with them, you can cycle them out, recharge them, or heal them with a ring, like we've got here. But oftentimes you can charge them out if there's no activity on the map that you're on, and just slowly take a planet over time. Next we have Lens. They're just, again, your basic ships in groups of 3. They really hold no value later on in the game. In the beginning of the game, yes, they do. Your DAUs here, these are specifically designed just to take out TIGs, very similar to the Corns. They are faster than the Corn. They are not as powerful as the Corn, but because they're faster, it actually helps compensate for it. I prefer these over the Corn when it's necessary to take out a whole bunch of TIGs. These are your basic bombers. More often than not, these are used to take out greens and, at the maximum, red guns. Reason being is you can't put them close enough to blue guns here without them getting shot or blown up. But with red guns, you can put them right outside. With red guns, you can put them right outside of their field of fire, and you can use the fodder to throw at the planet to activate these to shoot at your planet. So, say for instance we are right here. If this was an enemy planet, I would throw my fodder in at the planet, causing this to fire. Now it's not that simple at all. It sometimes takes quite a long amount of time to take out one particular planet. For instance, if you have a planet that has a shield on it, let's go with, here we go, let's go ahead and add a shield here. Taking out a planet like this with a shield can take at least an hour and a half. And that's if you're using a couple people. If you have just one person, be prepared to sit here at the computer for at least a few hours and hope and pray whomever owns the planet doesn't come on and see what you're doing. Next ship here is the Quinta, or the Aquin is what we call it actually, an Aquin. This has become probably the second most important ship in the game, simply because in mass they are incredibly difficult to defeat. In fact, it's actually a negative aspect of the game how they made these so powerful. We've been trying to talk with the game developers to get them to dial back their power, but they either A, don't respond, or B, simply refuse to do it. So it's not a positive thing for the game, but for you starting out, if you can make these en masse, and you'll be able to take out just about anybody. They come in groups of 7, especially when you have a ton of them. And I can show you what a whole bunch of them looks like later on too. Alright, these are basically useless. We don't need them anymore, so I'm just going to toss them in here to get rid of them. Okay, some other ships that we have. We have your Carls. These are your basic bombers. They are used to take out planets of all types. Well, we'll show this. We'll show it here. We'll go ahead and set these up. They aren't full. They need to be recharged with ammunition. They have a maximum of 200 shots of ammunition. You're gonna hear a sound. Actually, you know what? We can save these and just use them as fodder. Why waste them? Alright, so we'll send them here, and they'll actually come in different speeds because some are faster than others. So we'll just wait for those here. But anyhow, these Carls here. Let's go ahead and move them in range of this planet here. Now, you can't get them too close, otherwise they'll get destroyed. How you know how far away you can set your Carl? It'll tell you right here. It says the heavy bomber with 3 times the range as the orbital firing guns, and it has limited ammunition. Well, these can be set out at a maximum of 31 paces. The blue orbital firing guns, as you can see right there, increase from 12 to 18 as far as paces go. Now, how you determine how far back to put these? On a planet, you can see it's very simple. You simply count from the middle here. That stupid pop-up comes up over top. But you can count it from the middle here, and you count out 18 paces. And you can see it at the top right. If you take a look, see those 2 sets of numbers, your X and Y axis. That's how you know exactly where to place ships without them getting destroyed. So we'll go ahead and do that with this. But in a planet that you cannot see, an enemy planet, you start here in the middle of the word enemy planet, and you simply count over 30 paces. At least that's what I do. So we have 438, 28, 18, and 8. That's the farthest away that this can be and still fire. So let's go ahead and place a few more there so we don't waste the fodder. Everything costs in one way, shape, or form here. So the maximum you can really put these to is 38, 28, is to 18. But see, I don't like putting them that close. I like keeping them as far back as possible so you have room to maneuver them around. And if you have to defend your Carls, if someone comes to attack them while you're trying to take the planet, you have room to do that. So we'll just go and split half here, cut it in half, and just put the other half here. So while those are moving into position, let's talk about the next ship. You have 3 different ships that can go invisible or cloak. You have your Spiel, you have your Rabo, and you also have your Curie. Now, the Curie and the Spiel, they're really kind of pointless within the game. They're very easily destroyed. They're good if you want to sneak around the map undetected and see if you can find anything to destroy. If you want to go over planets without this right here, your detection phalanx. If you run over a planet with that, it's going to destroy it if you can't get out in time. So you got to make sure whatever you run over does not have that. You have to do your due diligence in finding out, or you have to do your due diligence in finding it out beforehand. So just for an example, so y'all can see, we'll send these in here to be destroyed. What these are all going to do is, as long as they're all in range, which, you know, they should be, they should all turn and fire at the planet. So it takes a lot of shots. It takes a lot of fodder. It takes quite a lot. It takes quite a good amount of time to take out one planet. So whenever you sit down to play this, make sure you got some time on your hands to really plan and strategize and figure out how you're going to do it. I'll go ahead and put those back. For now, I need to refill all those anyway. Alright, so your next ship here, actually the next few ships, we don't have to do them individually, because for the most part, you really don't use most of them. Kens here are of a bomber class. They can be useful if you use many of them and you cycle them out whenever you're taking out a planet. I don't have really any of them anywhere to show you, and I'm not going to build them because it's a waste. They don't do enough damage. They're destroyed way too easily. If you can cycle them out in conjunction with MAU to keep the fire on the MAU, then they become worth it as long as you're using them on a green or a red planet with green or red guns, but a blue planet, you just cannot move them fast enough and they'll get destroyed. You have the Brahms here, which are a smaller or a less lethal version of the TIGs. Brahms can be useful in mass. If you're starting out in the game, they can be very useful actually in protecting what you have. Just be careful because they can very easily be destroyed if the enemy you're using is using a Korn or a DAU here. They'll just shred right through them. So we already went through this one, this one, this one. Your Rabo. Rabos you will use more than anything else in the game, with the exception of your Aquins, probably. Depending on the style of gameplay that you play. If you're very aggressive, you're going to use a lot of Aquin and a lot of Rabo, and you will need a lot of maps. All these green ones here. You will need a lot of maps to support them. Let's see, I've got a I'll pull that detect over here. Do I have any? Here, I got one Rabo on the map right here. We'll go ahead and move that up. See how that is transparent. It's got a relatively fast speed. It's the second fastest ship in the game at a speed of 5. The only one faster is, I forget what it's called. I never use it. It's because Zirkle here. It goes 6 as far as the speed is concerned. These are actually good if you come across a pile of wents on an enemy map and you want to destroy their fodder stash, if you can get to it. If not, yeah, they're really pointless. There's really no point in building them unless you want to build a ton of them and just drive people nuts destroying stuff and then running away. But then you're going to piss people off and make a lot of enemies. So yeah, it's up to you. Depends on how you want to play the game. But anyhow, these were probably your most valuable ship that you will use. They can run over enemy planets that don't have a detection. And you can sneak right up on your enemy players, find out what they have, and watch them as they're taking a planet so you can plan and strategize an attack. Now we went over the Cobb. These are elitas. These can become extremely important when you're setting up a defensive force around, say, your Carls when you're trying to take out a planet that has active enemies around it. They can shoot at a range of 14, which is farther than any other ship in the game. What you do is you set them up in between your existing ships that you might set up to defend what you have attacking a planet. Or whenever you pile your ships en masse around, say, a 3-planet structure like this here, you can place them in between. I don't have to worry about that on my map here. I know the other individual on this map, and he really doesn't even play it anymore. But if you're on a hotly contested map, like some of the newer ones, or some of the older ones that some of us massive alliance are duking it out over, elitas can be very important. They can be very strategic. Next we have Gulls. We went over this. We went over the Aquin. Emmy-wise, they are very, very slow. If you can build them in mass, they can be useful. I personally never use them. There's really no point. Then we're into D-Techs. D-Techs are incredibly important. You use them to discover enemy ships like this Rabo here. Now, as soon as you run over an enemy ship, it's automatically going to target the D-Tech and try to destroy it. So you got to get in and you got to get out really quick here. Next, we have your cells. These are another extremely important ship in the game. You use these en masse to take planets. You use them to divert guns, and you also use them so you can take out other ships on a sitting planet. Mostly, though, they're used en masse to dwindle guns on a planet so you can come in and take the rest out. Milos, they're probably the most useless ship in the game. You'll never need them. Dawns, they can be incredibly important if you're using them on a red planet with guns, or a planet with red guns, or a planet with green guns, because you can sit them outside of the strike zone of the guns. Otherwise, they're really not useful. They're useful in taking the green and red planets over the Carls, though, because you don't have to refill them. With the Carls, you have to constantly keep them refilled, which is a huge pain. Especially when you're trying to take a planet with an active enemy on it, trying to keep his or her own planet. It can be very difficult. You need to have a sizable stash of these right here. These are munis. Well, we call them muni ships. Each one carries 250 rounds, and anybody within your alliance can fill up a partner Carl, as long as that Carl is within your alliance. I'll show you here. That one has 93 shots. What we're going to do is we're going to pop it right here. And while that's traveling, you have your TIGs, the Carls, which we're showing you now, and your ammunition transport ships, which are these here. The ammunition transport ships are probably the third most important ship in the game, because without them, it's extremely difficult to take any planet in any decent amount of time. So as you can see, the Carl is siphoning ammunition from a partner ammunition ship here. And this will keep going until it gets all the way up to 200. These ammunition ships, they can be refilled at the planet, or you can simply make new. Depending on your situation, your circumstance, how much Titan you have to work with, and the length of time that you have to refill, that'll determine whether you build brand new or whether you simply refill. Let's go ahead and move it back. It's not polite to take somebody else's ammunition that's just sitting there. And last but not least, as far as ships goes, you have TIGs. I'm not going to build any here. I have a pile of them on another map. They really aren't that useful anymore because Aquin kind of dominated them. Here is a massive amount of them. They are good against other random ships if you need something to go in and go out quickly to destroy stuff. They are good at sitting outside of planets. Say, for instance, this one right here. You could set it up at 12 spaces, or, well, actually you can't because it's red, or it's blue rather. But if this was red, you'd be able to set it up at 12 paces beyond the furthest most ship, and you can destroy everything here without, anything happening at all. But these ships used to be the dominant ship in the game, but for the most part, they're pretty much useless. Aquin have, en masse, these particular ones here, they've taken over the dominant spot for destroying enemy forces, so to speak. Simply because they're cheaper to make. They are slower, but they're cheaper to make. They're more expendable, if you will. And they do a heck of a lot more damage in a quicker amount of time to a massive force if you need to. Alright, so that's a quick look at all the ships here. Yeah, I'm not sure what the next tutorial will be. There's many aspects of it. There's a lot of strategy in this game. You may not think there is, but once you learn the intricate details of the game, how each ship works, how they interact with each other, and how they work in conjunction with the planets, it can be a very complicated game. It can be very overwhelming for the brand new player, for the base beginner. So hopefully these tutorials will help alleviate some of that tension, maybe some of that complexity. So please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. As always, if you have any questions, just ask down in the comments section and I will get back to you. That's what these tutorials are here for, and I hope they're out, and I hope they will, help somebody who wants to start playing this game. It's a lot more popular than you might think. There's a lot of players on this game. So, for those of you who have asked, I'm sorry that I can't accept you into Prometheus. Prometheus is the top alliance in the game, and we only take the top cream of the crop of the players, unless the players are a personal friend of somebody who's already in there. And we're also limited and subject to 20 spots. Everybody is, which is really irritating. We wish we could accept more players, but we can't. So, like I said, any questions, comments, concerns, just ask me down in the comment section and I will get back to you.